to finish TVP very quickly, so we'll see exactly what bag of tricks comes out. We're going into Ocean Board for the first map. And down in the bottom right side of the map, we're going to introduce our Protos player first of all. In the red, it is GunGFuBanDa.
Taking on the blue Teran in the top left-hand side, we have ourselves Spirit.
And it's going to be cool to see how this goes on. My favorite kind of memory of Spirit is many years ago, trying to set up show matches and being like, hey, Spirit, I'm trying to do some matches. What do you reckon? You know, this much money, play this time kind of thing. He's like, oh, yeah, sure. Just no Protos players. And I was like, what? And he's like, I don't play against Protos players. And I'm like, what? And he's like, they're disgusting and OP. And I was like, what? And I was just like, you got to play them in other tournaments, though. He's like, yeah. I don't get to choose them though, but in show matches, I don't want to do it. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is so many years ago. He has evolved a lot as a player and a person since then. But I remember that was just like a sticking memory, right? I've never heard of a player just like veto an entire matchup before for show matches. It was kind of funny.
That is funny. I've had that with a couple players though. There's some guys that have just straight up said no Protos. A couple of people have said no Teran at some point as well. And there's one Zerg who has been very adamant they never want to play a Teran player, so I'm not going to name any names though. I'm not going to call them out. I'm not feeling mean enough.
I just throw them under the bus. I have no respect for anyone's privacy. I'm just a D-bag like that. No, it's all in good fun, of course, and it's always a little bit of banter with the players. There's a bit of fun. Marine first for Spirit. Haven't seen too much Reaper openings lately, and it is going to be a quick factory by the looks of it. So factory into reactor, not a bad style. GunGFu has that Nexus finished, Adept getting chronoed, Warp Gate on the way, so it looks like a pretty kind of, Twilight opening. Pretty standard stuff, most likely. Oceanborn is a map where I feel like in the last map pool, I was like, oh, this one's good for Teran. And I feel like in this map pool, there's so many bizarre and weird maps. It kind of just feels like the normal map now. Does that make sense?
Oceanborn?
Yeah, like it kind of feels almost like overgrowth now.
Yeah,
like, because there's so many wild new maps.
To me, this is just the norm. Like,
yeah,
this is like, if you want a standard map, Oceanborn is it. And some races prefer the layout a little bit, but it's standard. In my eyes, this is just a new standard for the ladder. You're right, especially because so many of the modern day maps are weirder. It does mean that, this one really stands out as being extremely normal in comparison.
Give me that white bread. Give me that vanilla ice cream, Give me that plain. Sometimes it is nice. I'm a little sad we haven't seen a lot of post-youth or Amphion. Those maps are getting vetoed super hard, sadly.
I love Amphion as well. I think Amphion's such a fantastic map.
Yes, I agree. It's the new Golden Wall, man. Fun, weird movement on that map.
Yeah, loads of different bases. At least Crimson Court gets some love. That's kind of similar in terms of like you can kind of have a lot of different base layouts, and people actually are playing that one, so that's nice to see. It's funny because post-youth I feel like got played a lot early, and now they're kind of starting to veto it a lot more. As they play on it more, they're like, no, actually, we don't like this. So it's funny how the opinions change there.
Yeah, I went from one day playing Max Specs in the weekly, and he vetoed it, and I was like, this is good for Protos vs Zerg, right? And he was like, what? I vetoed it day one because I didn't like the look of it. I like the old maps. I've never played it. And within 2 games, he was doing it, and he beat like Dark and a few people with it. And I was like, see, it's really good. And then I saw he was beating Terrans on ladder and playing the same map. And I was like, oh, he completely unvetoed it for all matchups. And then a week later, like Clem had cheesed him a bunch on it and killed his gold base. And he was like, okay, I'm back to vetoing it, And I'm like, it's fun to see the cycle of the players kind of figuring things out, going, oh, this map's good. Oh, wait, it's bad. Oh, it's good. No. There's too many strong pushes for them. Speaking of strong pushes, mate, flavor of the bloody day. Yeah. Mind drop into Liberate into Tank Marine push. We've seen so much of this. This is a slightly different one because it's got the early second barracks as well. So it's going to be a super committed Marine tank push by the looks of it.
Yeah, very committed Marine tank with obviously the stim behind it. Eventually, the Widowmine drop coming in. Blink not done yet as the Widowmine will just get to burrow for a probe. Good retargeting. I was going to say, just let that fire, I think, because he was actually stacked onto multiple probes at first.
Yeah.
I think he outdid himself there with the retargeting. Like, yes, he bought himself more lost mine time, but he could have had 2 or 3 workers worse if then the shot went off and GunGFu microed late. So, yeah, I think maybe a missed opportunity there from Spirit, but nitpicking a little bit. He still has the medevac and the second Widow Mine alive, so he can come back in and drop again at some stage. As the Liberator is now out as well, so that's something else that Spirit can get in position. And yeah, we're waiting for the Marine tank phase to come through, because we've seen this one a lot the last few days. We definitely know how this is typically meant to play out from here.
I think I totally agree with your nitpicking about the Widowmine should have fired, but I also feel like for Protos it's almost a competition to react the least these days, where like some Protos players are like, no, I'm gonna pull back to like 1 pixel out of range. And then they just miscalculate, and like the Widowmine just fires on it and kills 7 probes. And I'm like, you could just pull them slightly further away, right? Like, you don't need to. Like, it doesn't actually help you to have them standing 1 millimeter out of range of the Widowmine. Anyways, big push through the middle, Lib in the back, and the mine drop in the back of the main, ready in case GunGFu does F2. Stalkers on the front are harassing. He's put his probes away. Stalker Sentry and Model. It's a good force against the tanks, but that is a big Marine count, and they have stim. Oh my lord, that's a lot of units.
It is
forward,
indeed.
The Marines will stim.
First Stalker already getting shot as well. Both tanks will in siege. We reposition. Finally, we get rid of the Lib, but that's a lot of lost mine time as well. And yeah, these Marines stimmable as a 3rd tank shows up. My goodness, this is not getting any better here for GunGFu as Spirit shows up on that bottom side.
Mine drops going in the main at the same time as well. He was really patient with that. Of course, he's busy on the front. That's why he's not looking at it. The Marines do stim in at the same time. He'll borrow that Widow Mine in the midst of this, and it will potentially get a big shot. Great reaction there. GungFu's reactions on point. He is hanging on, but that Nexus, if he wants to defend it, he's got to go. He does not have time to get charge up.
He does not at all, as the medevac there from the main kind of flies through to its death. GungFu massively supply blocked now as well, by the way, after losing the Nexus, so this is hurting him a lot. He's got Stalkers on very low HP. He's actually letting units wander forward as well. Not the crispest of play. And this is looking very good for Spirit, obviously, game 1. 3rd CC of his own coming up back at home. +1 combat shield soon here to even empower these Marines further. And he's still killing pylons. I mean, GungFu has building 4 pylons at once to get out of a supply block at the moment. He is desperate for those to finish. And Spirit just says, cool, I've done enough here. Let's go back home. Let's reinforce properly. Let's not stick too long and push my luck. You know, let's just play this out as I should, because he's got no 3rd base. I'm in a very comfortable position.
Yeah. Terran players, we refer to this as the gotcha Nexus maneuver, and then you try to get out of there. Protos does not like you grabbing their Nexus and running away like that, much like a child who thinks you actually stole their nose. It's very upsetting.
Yeah. That was some cool micro on the tanks as well, by the way. Just little things from Spirit just to make this as smooth an experience as possible. As he's obviously just set back up over here, getting Marauders out now, +1 armor will start. And GungFu just tries to re-establish the 3rd base and that extended thermal lance as well.
Observers watching this. Can GungFu climb back into this game? We've seen some pretty cool Protoss recoveries recently. I like the repair on that tank, though. But Spirit's macro has been great. Like, he's got 1-1. I think the only real thing we could say is missing here is, like, he doesn't have any ghosts yet. He's got a Ghost Academy. But I think his army could push yet again. He's way up in army supply, and I'd love to see him just go and keep that pressure on top of his opponent. But he's getting a bit prepared for run-bys. He's got the bunker coming up with a bit of a depot wall. I love that little attention to detail, by the way. Not enough players wall off their bunkers. And if you leave that little, like, single space opening where, like, the Zealots can get at it and they all get stuck behind each other, that's even better. Like, I almost want that depot to be on, like, a diagonal, you know? Leave a tiny opening, and it just bugs out the AI if your opponent doesn't micro it.
No, that's a cute little additional thought. As Spirit is coming across the map and he's looking to be very aggressive. Loads up a drop, so not sure if that was just Widow Mines or so off to the right-hand side. Nope, it's full of Marines, so a full Marine drop out to the right-hand side. Going to drop over there. We have got the rest of this push setting up from Spirit. Coming out the front, couple Widow Mines will burrow. Tanks will get set. And there's Bioforce ready to try and make something happen as well, as we're going to see these couple Zealots start to charge through, trying to jump on this.
Marines do get defended from the natural. GungFu's doing a good job. Can't take a 4th just yet, but honestly, not dying is more than I would have expected from him in this scenario with how it started. Disruptor takes out the tank, does pull back. Yeah, he's doing really well. Honestly, like, GungFu's still way behind. But if he can manage to eke this one out, defend this tank push without losing any robo units, that's amazing.
Yes, it is. Zelda still chasing the rest of this army coming through from GunGFu, and he will push Spirit away up to that left-hand side, so he is going to push this back, give himself some freedom. Marines drop back in onto this mineral line where a few probes are taking damage. Zelda's get walked in once again, and it is going to be Spirit. Wants to lift up and back off. Good defense from GunGFu, keeping himself alive in this game where it looked pretty doomed for him early. But yeah, Spirit having some troubles finding some finishing touches to the fights.
Yeah, Spirit's not really an expert at finishing it with timing pushes. He's great with his early aggression, he's great with his macro, and just getting ahead. That's what Spirit excels at. It's not killing you, it's just getting ahead. So even though I'm like, oh, GunGFu's surviving, we got to realize that like Spirit is so well prepared for the late game. Marines are in the main. They will get cleaned up by the Zealot Stalker. Only getting a few probes there. Vikings are causing problems for the Colossus. No battery on that base just yet. Good pullbacks for GunGFu, but you don't want to lose the fourth. And honestly, if Spirit just clicks on it, that's dead.
Yeah, if he just jumps on this base, and he should. I mean, there's no reason not to. He will be able to cover the ramp with EMPs. The instant cancel from GunGFu. He understands the situation. Spirit Battery's healing stuff up already. That means it wouldn't be active for a fight if Spirit was to pounce, but don't think he's necessarily going to go, as the Stalker will blink away from the mine. Or, well, mine will unburrow and get blinked upon, either or. Still looking good for Spirit, I suppose. He gets fourth base up and just denies his opponent's fourth while getting his own fourth up again. Extends his position in this game, keeps him in the lead, even if he's not being instant towards clearing it up and closing it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that's like, oh, maybe we could, you know, drop the natural with like 4 medevacs and then hit the fourth or third again. Ooh, don't want that Colossus to get hit. Already almost dead. Good blinkies, though, to dodge. Viking counts out, +1 ship weapons on the way. Fusion Core's almost done. He's on 2 starports, and I believe it's 7 barracks now. Ooh, ambush disruptors, but the Vikings spot it. Good reaction by Spirit.
Yep, well handled, as just have. And pull back in the bottom right-hand side. Spirit just going to finish up his 2-2. A single Marine wants to go hunting onto that probe, and he does see the fourth base coming back up, so he knows that's there again. We'll see if that instigates him to push forward. He's getting advanced ballistics on the way, so he's going to get himself ready and prepped with the Liberators. Knowing that that's obviously a very good way to obviously follow up in this situation. It's no surprise.
GunGFu's surviving right now, but he's getting out upgraded, and especially with Lib range on the way, Spirit is building towards a better position in the long term. Right now, though, I think GunGFu's army is exceptional. If he can land 1 or 2 good disruptor shots, he might be able to roll over things, especially if the Stalkers can focus down the Vikings. And making something happen before Lib range kicks in is huge. If he doesn't do that, I feel like GunGFu is just going to get sieged by 10 Liberators and slowly lose this game.
Yeah, the Libs need to, well, the Libs need to be answered straight up. If you don't have a good answer to Liberators, they will just control the rest of this matchup. So there's something to look at here. Wouldn't mind, we'll clean out this little Zealot that's trying to come through, and already a drop in the bottom left again. Put some pressure onto this fourth base. The main army keeps everything busy on the right-hand side, so actually that little drop there could have some success. I believe a warping coming in now, but we got rid of the battery, going to get rid of the cannon. It just makes it easier to jump onto here with drops later on, right? Because there's going to be less stack. Defense ready to go. Spirit still pushing towards the front. Super battery active, though, and it's going to be a big help to keeping GunGFuBanDa alive.
3-2 upgrades almost finished for Protos. It's an important power spike, but 3-3 is already 1/3 complete for Teran, so Teran will eventually outstrip on the upgrades, not to mention 4 starports being ready, 6 libs building at a time, +2 ship weapons on the way. Combine an EMP with a +2 ship weapons Liberator shot, and Stalker goes bye-bye. And when you're getting Stalker's one shot, an almost 200 resource unit, oh, it is so costly. So very, very rough for GunGFu the longer this goes if he can't find some sort of answer. If he adds Storm, I might feel a little bit better about his position, because he'll have at least the ability to zone the Vikings and Libs. They can't just jump on top of you. But he doesn't have Storm, doesn't have an air transition. It's just this disruptor ball. And remember, the Colossus, there's enough Vikings to deal with them. There's enough EMP to deal with the Archons, which means basically it's just Zealots, Stalkers, a couple Sentries, and 5 Disruptors. That's not a great long-term army, and that's why things are looking rather stark for the Protoss player right now.
Definitely not looking too pretty as a couple of Libs fire away for 5 probes. Yeah, I mean,
does get a few Vikings. That was actually a really nice blink forward there.
It's a nice moment for Spirit, though, right? Because he just got a bunch of probes just as GunGFu wants to attack. Spirit's just hitting him back at home, and it's just a problem for GunGFu. You're going to have to go and busy yourself with dealing with all of that as well. They have 3-3 about to finish from Spirit as well, so going to be looking good upgrade-wise. And he's actually going to get a catch on those disruptors. Just didn't quite get the units down there to damage, but he will chase with Libs, and the Libs actually help to clean up.
We don't talk about it too much, but in the last patch, Lib range did get reduced by 1 with, you know, with the upgrade. So they actually aren't quite as abusive as they were before. This map was one of the big problem maps last season before that change, because like you literally just could not reach them. But you can see even now it's still hard to deal with the Liberators on the south of the map. The drop's getting in. Spirit is a master of mass macro and harassment, and he's showing that right now. He's, like I said, very good at getting ahead. He's not the best at just running in and killing his opponent. We saw like earlier, Oliveira and Coffee, brutal. I'm going to try and kill you right here, right now, Terrans. Spirit is that I will just work those advantages over time, methodically building those advantages for myself. And it really is looking like GunGFu's stuck in a corner with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Libera is going to continue to siege up Biowall Stims. Stalker taking quite a few shots. We do pull back. The disruptor shots firing through. Archon going down. This was a massacre as GunGFuBanDa's army just did a disappearing act.
Absolute slaughter. Like I was saying, you need something like Storm. When those Libs run forward and siege like that, you got to be able to hit them with some sort of flanking splash damage that hits air and ground. Easier said than done. GunGFu was on the back foot from that first push that got rid of his third base. Spirit just played a really tight opening, and that flavor of the Widowmine Lib Marine tank push where you have Stim in the second barracks, I always find that to be the nastiest push, because you think, okay, this is kind of hard because there's 3 things happening at once, but at least these Marines and tanks are kind of crappy, right? Oh, what are they going to do? And then you're like, they have Stim? Really? This early in the game? And the Widowmine drop in the main and the Lib in the natural? That's where things get very difficult. So, yeah, no shame there for GunGFu losing the third to that. The fact that he hung on, brought it back to you in a situation where he maybe could have made something happen. Not too bad, but hopefully on the next map, Alcyon, he has a better opening and doesn't find himself playing from behind from 6-7 minutes in.
Spirit going to take the typical minute break between maps. It's a special move. So he does sit up 1-0 here. Big map, the next one, right? So potential to actually see if especially if you don't see earlier damage done, that kind of longer game that we maybe expect. This was already kind of a taste of it, right? Where it's like, even though Spirit did great damage early, we still kind of drew it out for 15-16 minutes of the game when a lot of players probably would have found a way to maybe end it sooner. It is that thing that Spirit just isn't great at, necessarily kind of closing games out. So just something to look at there as we ready up for again this map. As soon as Spirit is back and ready to go, we'll get that back on track ASAP.
It's always tough. I feel like if you go for charge is one of the simplest solutions to a lot of Terran pushes. Makes it very easy. They're so cheap, fantastic units, especially against tank pushes. But GunGFu in that last game got caught with his charge about halfway done once the tanks were in range of the Nexus. It's one of those things where it's like, you just can't wait for charge, and you'd actually be better off having not committed to it at all. But that is something you only know in hindsight. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for a relatively quick charge again as part of his standard defensive setup. And I think against most builds, it will work out pretty well. We are loading into Alcyon right and now. I doubt we'll see any gold-based shenanigans on this map in a TVP. That would be something you only really see like Hero do. You know, opens with a proxy Stargate, some Zealot adept pressure, and then goes for the gold base. I don't think GunGFu will take that sort of risk, but we will see exactly where it goes. It's been a great start for the Terran player as we load into the map. We are going to be introducing the Protos player first of all in the top right side of the map. It is none other than GunGFuBanDa.
Representing Na'Vi in the bottom left-hand side will be the blue Teran player. It is Spirit. Big map. Big game potentially from these guys. Let's see what they can do.
It's always interesting to see the different players' skill sets, and you know, Spirit, I just always feel like, you know, give him harassment while expanding. He's second to none, but doesn't really have the same sort of scary killer instinct some players do. Despite that, it seems like it's really hard to punish him. It's not like you can be like, oh, he doesn't kill you on the front, so I can be greedy, because he'll still push and he'll still deny bases. He just won't go all in.
That's true. He's definitely the kind of guy who he's just very happy to like. I think he just believes in his macro game so much, right? And because that was always his bread and butter, like it's just kind of the old familiar for him. So it's so easy for him to be like, well, I can see how I attack in here and I die because I mess up the fight. But if I play for the longer game, if I mess up one fight, there's less of a chance I lose the game from there. So I'm just going to go and do that because, like I say, he's just very comfortable doing that kind of thing, playing in that sort of a way. So it's kind of just him returning to his habits of old, even though he definitely has become a player that overall has been better and not letting the game just go on forever when it doesn't need to be. You know, old habits do still die hard.
Now, Spirit grew up in pain, man. This is the guy who played like hundreds and hundreds of practice macro games against Cyril in 2018 and 2019. We're like, how often do you win? And he's like, never. Like, you just keep practicing with him. He's like, yeah, I think it's good practice. I'm like, I'm sure it is, but man, it's got to be frustrating. This is so annoying. And obviously not never. You would definitely take maps, but you know, some silly low percentage at that time, if my memory serves. This eBay block's been great though. GunGFu's been forced into a second gas opening, a Zealot and an Adept. And that Nexus is going to be starting at like 2 minutes 30. Now, he does need a third pylon. There we go. Yeah, third pylon's a good choice. So as long as you keep probing non-stop, it's not too bad having that delayed. I mean, the command center is a little delayed as well. Oh, almost gets the SCV. Good reaction by Spirit. Barely gets out of there. Always confuses me how you hear the probe attack noise on the final attack, but it doesn't actually complete. So you're like, oh, I always feel like if you hear the noise, the attack should have happened, but it actually happens. The noise happens and then the attack sees if it connects, and if it doesn't actually complete the damage.
Protos, man. Confusing us in every single way, apparently. Well.
Ooh, that Marine got sliced. Oh, he's going to let the command center finish, though. Maybe should have focused on that SCV. That is the bigger pick off, the delay on the command center. Nonetheless, I mean, you only lose a probe, you get a bit of damage, kill a Marine, kill an SCV, and you see that there's a factory in the back as well. Twilight Council's on the way for GunGFu. He's going for Blink behind this. And those Marines coming up. There's a second Adept. Good micro by GunGFu, man. Is it enough, though? That's a lot of firepower.
There's a lot of firepower from these Marines, and they are going to come and chase this Adept as well, because it was shading towards the base. And I'm just going to be seeing our Adept going to get a grab. And that's going to be the cleanup in the end then from Spirit. So he has to shut this all down, and I mean, that's 2 Adepts, a Zealot, a Probe. Lost for a handful of Marines. Obviously, Spirit this game moving into the Cyclones and then the Starports, so a little bit of a different set for him. And he is up against Blink, so he just need to be careful. The Cyclones are not going to be the best unit here compared to if they were playing like against a Stargate or something. As we do have our units continuing through the middle.
Second and third gateway coming up. No Robo just yet. I think this is pretty good, though. If you can warp in 3 Stalkers here, it should be an easy defense of the initial Cyclone and few Marines. There is another Cyclone and even a third one building. Spirit's going ham. Wow. Really hoping that GunGFu is underprepared, but GunGFu's got a battery up. Starts a Robo as well, so GunGFu's playing pretty safe.
Yep, making sure he's not going to die to anything kind of shown up out of nowhere, but the moment he has Blink, he's surely going to be in a very good spot to clean up this army. Still needs to get the Stalker count up, but he's playing 3 gates, so he should have access to it. You know, he should have access to the warp-ins he needs, and he gets a couple of them now. Third Nexus will start as well. Spirit is moving towards that third. Marines and Cyclones alike. Let's see what we can do.
He did cancel the third Cyclone and built a Tech Lab instead. He's going for the Lib in the tank next up. Gonna look for the deny on this base, but he may be best off just running away. Those Stalkers will pick at you. He's gonna commit. Wow.
Okay.
Just commits 100%. Blink is ready. Medevac does go down, though. Oh, that's huge.
I was gonna say losing the Cyclone to Medevac was a little bit sad as well. Maybe a bit of extra damage lost. You will lose everything, but hey, we got rid of the third base, so this wasn't all for naught. At least you got something out of it, so a little bit love found there for Spirit here in this game too. I think GunGFu's not too upset though. It's not like the third was super far along. You know, he did clean up absolutely every single unit there, so now there's not going to be anything else showing up for the foreseeable future.
No, I mean, just a Lib and nothing else. So he also sees that Tech Labs are just starting. And when you see that, you go, oh, I have at least 2 minutes. Like, I have till almost 8 minutes in this game before Stim could arrive, right? Like, there's not going to be Stim Bio on my doorstep for minutes. And that gives you a lot of freedom. That gives you the ability, because he sent the Hallucinated Phoenix across, didn't F2 at home or anything, GunGFu can kind of chill. He can probe up, add upgrades, really transition to that next step. So really want to see more of this from him. Just keep hitting that economy. And he's got a good Stalker split in case there is more harassment.
Stim and combat shields coming up from Spirit. The couple of engineering bays coming through as well. So he gets all of that bio set up for the future. And yeah, just going to be seeing the third CC finishing, so you can move that into the orbital and then continue through. So should be looking pretty okay there very shortly. So just have the charge and the +1 continuing to build. So GunGFu getting his own tech up and running with the Robo Bay as well. Obviously that's going to be a splash damage choice for the future here as well.
Raven goes across the map, doesn't find the observer outside the natural. That's very good for GunGFu. It's already got a healthy worker advantage of 8, which I'm not saying that's like, oh, you're way ahead on economy, but it's kind of what you want in this matchup. Looks like Pylon on the left, maybe built there. The Stalkers are kind of looking around, but he's pulled the Stalkers out of the main, I believe, and the Raven coming in there, finding an undefended base. We'll be able to start getting some auto turret harassment down. He pre-pulls the probes. Good reaction, better than losing anything.
Yeah, no, I lost my own time is better than actually losing a worker, and the Raven obviously can sit in the corner and do this a few times over, so that's going to be a challenge that we see for the next little bit. Meanwhile, Stim is done from Spirit and 1-1 is done soon, so he will be able to get some larger armies going, maybe even some drop play, because GunGFu is obviously moving up to that 4th, so this is maybe where you can try and hit on the left side and the right side at 2 different times. Split push is pretty good on this map just because of that left versus right aspect of the expansions. I mean, for now, Spirit is just going to tech into the Ghost Academy as he's hitting his 3 bases and all his gases. It is time to get that tech online, and be surprised to see maybe even Vikings on the way at some point soon.
I was about to say, where's the armory at? Because if he doesn't go for the armory, he's super committed to 1-1, but he does start the armory. I think that's a great choice. You know, when you play a big 3-base economy build like this, continuing your upgrades is always a very good idea. So I like to see that. And it does look like Spirit's going to start venturing onto the map, looking to put on some pressure. GunGFu doesn't seem to see this coming. This is a huge problem. Losing his 4th Nexus for free would be such a big mistake.
Yeah, he needs to, this is just going to be going down instantly, right? No idea that this is here, and this is going to be a great grab of Spirit. He is starting to move across now. The auto turret's going to the main base. And there's going to be the Liberator Center as well. GunGFu pretty well set up to kind of deal with this all over the place. Widowmine goes into the center of that army. I think GunGFu might be lacking units to defend this. Spirit's going to turn back onto the Zealots. A few more units coming in from behind. I think this was too bad of a fight to start out with. Now a diving Colossus, so we believe we can get rid of these. We do get rid of both. The Zealots are left over are not going to be enough. And Spirit is going to potentially get the 4th at the end of this. I think at this point you do just turn onto that Nexus, finish it up. I mean, it's only Stalkers showing up. We can still even fight these after it all. Great little attack in from Spirit from all angles, getting so much done.
That wasn't even a scary army on the front, you know, from Spirit, but it was so unnoticed, and combined with the Lib and the Raven in the back, such a good start to the fight, as you pointed out there, Wardy. It was like, man, just got good damage, started cleaning up units, probes were going down in the back, and now Spirit is running away with this game. Every probe he picks off is irreplaceable. And that battery overcharge will buy a bit of time here. Good micro from GunGFu with the back and forth. Marine drop on the right side should get cleaned up. Colossus and Zealots in the main natural, defend there. Drop on the right side does get shot down, but GunGFu finds himself drastically far behind in this game, and that's just a terrible spot to be in. Down 20 workers on a Teran. Spirit has endless numbers. He can swarm, but he doesn't need to. He can play technically. He can do whatever the heck he wants. He's got 8 barracks on the way, ship weapons upgrades. He has got the Vikings coming to counter the Colossus. I mean, Spirit is just all over this series so far.
Yes, he is. He's been very comfortably in great positions after each of the fights. I mean, he got drawn out a little bit last game, but you can see that this is obviously looking pretty darn comfortable for him as well. Up 35 supply right now. And just, again, knocking down his opponent's base is such a great thing to be doing, because you're constantly slowing down your opponent's setup. And if you're doing that, you're just going to maintain that lead for yourself as well. So it just gets better and better and better for you.
Going to clean up the watchtower there as he moves down that right side. GunGFu trying to scrap together a defense with very few units. And remember, Spirit feels no pressure to do damage right now. He's just looking for positive trades, because he's ahead on the income and the army and the upgrades. And when you're ahead on every regard, there's no pressure, but you feel confident just looking for whatever favors you. Does hit a Colossus with one of those Widow Mines, but blinks to dodge another one. Counterattack on his 4th base on the gold. Looks like maybe a single Zealot ran in there and actually denied the SCV building that. And at the same time, we've got his drop in the natural. GunGFu's doing a pretty good job of pushing him back momentarily. But feels like this is only a small chunk of Spirit's army. Doesn't want to lose it, though.
Yeah, does want to keep it alive. That Colossus just spawned into those Marauders, unfortunately, so that gets grabbed as well. Now going to get the pylon that's powering the Robo, and we'll go into a battery after. So Spirit's still finding good value across the board here. Continue to find some connections, continue to find some trade-outs. And again, at some point, you're kind of just expecting the large armies. We actually will see this completely cleaned up now, so that's nice. You're kind of expecting Spirit to get one big kind of gather up of everything and be able to just sort of push. Might be that he just wants to get a few more Vikings out for that, because the Colossi are probably the biggest concern at the moment, so maybe expecting that to be the biggest issue at the, right now.
Second stop, what's up now as well? So he's kind of got, you know, lib range +2, 3/3, 8 racks, 5 or 6 command centers up. I mean, this is a delicious setup for Spirit. That being said, right now the army supply is dead even. You know, he traded a lot of army away. And those last few fights actually weren't great for him. He is down 1,000 resources in the units lost. He's going to lose his planetary on the gold before it even gets up. Spirit's got to kind of just slow down and, as you said, gather a big frontal army, because there's no disruptors. There's nothing in here except Colossus, Zealot, Stalker. He just needs to have numbers, drop EMPs. As long as his Marines aren't too clumped up for the Colossus, he should be able to roll over this force.
It's the sort of army that's scary in numbers alone. Yeah, you look at the numbers, like, oh, you know, GunGFu's in this, but again, it's what's in that army is very much so lacking with EMPs and the tech of the Teran. It should be, like we've already said a couple times, perhaps fairly easily figured out. So let's see what we get as we do have the Zealot Stalker Colossus still moving around in the center. Bio going to pull away to the left-hand side. Colossus firing there. A couple of EMPs go down, and we do fire some shots chasing the army away. 3-3 on the way from Spirit 2, so just going to extend that upgrade advantage. And also just maintain that base lead as he gets his 5th up and running. There's a gold base from GunGFu on the way, though, and that might be one of Spirit's targets at the next time he feels comfortable with a larger force to move out.
Kind of feels like a repeat of game 1 in that Spirit is miles ahead, and GunGFu, he's hanging in there. But I don't really see him getting into a position where he can survive. Like the Dark Shrine, I love that. I think that's a good piece of tech. But it's so late in the game. I'm wondering, you know, 2nd or 3rd Robo, Storm, maybe a Stargate transition. Something like that needs to happen. It needs to happen really soon if he wants to have any chance once this lib range comes in.
No, I'm with you. +3 attack is soon finishing from GunGFuBanDa. The Prism speed is on the way up. The Dark Shrine and a couple extra gates are all building as well. And we still have that 3-3 is just not quite ready yet for Spirit, but I mean, with Dark Shrine coming up, it's going to give GunGFu some more harassing opportunities. Also, will give him a way to kind of move around the map and maybe deal some damage. Would be lovely if GunGFu can actually kind of force Spirit to kind of look everywhere on his bases, because Spirit's the one that's been kind of throwing units around the map so far. More Vikings are coming up as Spirit lost a little bit of bio. You'll replace it with Vikings and just try and deal with this. This is a lot of Zealots that need to turn around instantly, and they do.
Prism's gonna sneak by the turret, almost gets shot down, but will make it into that main base. GunGFu's army clashing in the middle. Big EMPs on his Archons and Disruptors. He doesn't have many Disruptors, and he's getting armor, plasma shields, still building Disruptors one at a time, but I'm waiting to see GunGFu make that play. There we go. Stargate does go down. Okay, so he's gonna try and go Stargate. He's got forward gateways for warpings. He's got pretty good map vision. Spirit's just like a few steps ahead in this macro game, which makes it really hard for him to find those advantages. And look at that, Spirit EMP plus focus on the Disruptor takes it down. He's a little in front of his Vikings right now, but he doesn't seem to care too much. He's like, hey, that's all right, we'll catch up. And that Protos army crumbles. Man, GunGFu's army is just falling apart right now. The Zealots are kind of stuck behind each other. One Disruptor comes in from the left, it gets dodged, and man, Spirit is monster moding this series. He is making it look rather one-sided.
It's funny because it's like GunGFu's like holding on, he's hanging in there, and again we're like, wow, you know, Spirit, you were so ahead. Why you let GunGFu max out? This is why, because GunGFu's maxed out, but it didn't really mean anything. Spirit was able to take such a good fight. His army was so much better. It's just about waiting for the correct fight so it looks this one-sided when it gets to this stage. And yeah, I mean, at this point we're just going to fight this. Obviously, these few Zealots will not be enough of a buffer for the Stalkers. Stalkers will melt against this amount of Marauders. The Disruptor will buy you a few seconds of Spirit splitting back. It's another base going down, and Spirit is once more looking good to win out a map in this series, looking to go up 2-0 in the best of 5.
Big wins here for Spirit. I mean, he's making it look like he just belongs in that next round. And he's looking like you're going to need to bring out some special sauce to beat him here. He's on another level in this matchup right now. His build orders are being tight. And it's like, oh man, his whole army's gone. He's still maxed. Playing Teran like a Zerg there. Masses of starports, 8 barracks, a billion command centers, and GunGFu just can't keep up. Very clean early kind of into the mid game for Spirit. And like I said, I mean, you need to do some real special plays as GunGFu to get back from there. Whether that's triple Robo Disruptor or Psystorm or triple Robo Disruptor to get you into Sky Toss or something, like, I don't know. It's easier said than done, but felt like we were watching kind of just Spirit establish an advantage, and from there it looked like an unstoppable force. Once he's got that momentum, he is a beast.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely a beast. I mean, you get going, you get started. He just takes the lead, and then he's just like, cool, with that lead, I can play such a comfortable macro game, and he just sits back, and he does exactly that. As Spirit is now 2-0 up, so he's going to take a 2-minute break. It's his new strategy, a minute for every game that he's won in the series, so a couple minutes here before we jump into Game 3 of the best of 5. Spirit on match point. Of course, this is winner's bracket here in Europe. We can take a quick peek at it maybe just for a second while we wait for our players. So this is winner's bracket. Don't have the lower bracket to show you guys just yet, but basically anyone who lost in round 1 drops into the lower bracket against the guy you would expect them to, the same player. So for example, Bly against Wayne will be a lower bracket match. And yeah, obviously the loser of this ends up against Goblin, which isn't an easy matchup. And the winner of this gets to go up against Showtime. So lots of fun matches here in the European region as we enter these playoffs yesterday, today, and over the weekend.
I think Spirit Showtime is a very good match, actually. It's very interesting. Kind of what I was saying about this one, and that we could have long macro games. I think Showtime is much more likely to push it there, right? Rather than what we've seen so far in these games, obviously, has been a little more one-sided than I guess perhaps we expected. But yeah, man, we've already got like Rainer Hero Marine, Clem Harstem. Clem Harstem is actually a fascinating match as well, because when Harstem gets on point, dude, it feels like he is just such a master of like the simple, I just run my Zealot Stalker Disruptor around and just rotate it, and that's where my whole focus on APM is. And I just run around and just take pot shots and keep blinking on command centers and killing them. And it feels like I think Harstem does that better than a lot of players. So I really hope he can survive against the intensity of Clem's, early and mid game Teran and get to that late game, because I always feel like it's a joy to see those two clash. And they had that epic series a few months ago. I can't remember what tournament it was in, but that was a lot of fun. I hope we get to see a little bit more of that action.
I'd be very down for that as we get ourselves up into GunGFuBanDa Spirit Game 3. It's Ghost River for what could be the final map of this series. We have not had a 3-0 all day, actually. We've always gone to at least a 4th map, so Spirit looking to do what no one else has done today as he comes in. He was a big favorite in the groups as well. He was 3-0 through his group, so very comfortable there. GunGFu had to go through all 5 matches in the group, so you can definitely imagine that Spirit is kind of meant to be the guy who is the favorite here. We'll see if he can keep that up. It's definitely been the case so far, as in the top right-hand side, looking to bring it back. Red Protos player from Berserker is GunGFuBanDa.
And his opponent on the left side of the Ghost River, he's looking absolutely unfazed by his opponents today. It is Spirit. Representing Na'Vi and looking fantastic. It's going to be a bit of a low ground gateway for some of that early potential Zealot, if not just the Adept pressure. Shading across, trying to maybe deny the SCV, building the command center. Always a good move.
Yeah, just some things. This is a small map, so with that low ground gateway, get some pressure across the map quickly, and that's something that GunGFu look to utilize. Try and make Spirit's life a little bit tricksy throughout the early stages. If you can successfully do that, then that would be great. As again, that barracks coming up in the high ground gate, and the gas coming through from GunGFu. Waiting to see what the plan is. Spirit is not adding on gas number 2, so he will be looking to expand. Honestly, so many Terrans do just expand high ground just for safety reasons nowadays. Ghost River would be the map to do that on as well, but Spirit He doesn't have a SCV low ground at the moment. He is also still about to build the Orbital and the Reaper, and then he can afford the CC. So he will low ground it up, and he'll have to play this defense down here. Nothing actually on the way from GunGFu though. No early Zealot at least. Okay, there it is. Keys it up now, so he will have some pressure coming to the other side very soon.
Good timings on this block by GunGFu. It was right when he got to 400 minerals. Delays it by like a good 7-8 seconds there. That's actually huge. Command center delay. You know, it doesn't seem like that much, but that is almost an extra SCV production time he's going to miss. Slows it down, which also means the Zealot and the Adept can get there and pick it off. So this is a really good start so far for GunGFu. Nice harass.
Yeah, great start as Probe comes back over. He's going to nibble at that SCV again. Any delay on this command center will continue to come about. And let's just see how Reaper still sitting around. Marine going to fire there. Probe will take another few shots. Factoring the reactor coming up on the side of Spirit. Command center halfway done. Refinery halfway done. Still bringing all of this through as we get ourselves the Adept continuing over to the left-hand side. And the Reaper continues to the right, so that's not going to be at home to help. So this first Marine in trouble is going to go down. As Spirit is in a lot of trouble suddenly. He will not have anything for a while. The Reaper's going to have to turn around. I'm kind of surprised because he saw everything kind of on the way. So Spirit just kind of caught not paying enough attention, really, or kind of making some bad decisions and now regretting them.
Yeah, I mean, that Reaper was down south looking for proxies for a little bit too long this game, and it does cost him that Adept's going to start picking off those SCVs. I love that the Probe's one of the boys. You know, a lot of people leave their Probes at home. They say, no, Probes are just for mining. These Probes wanted to fight, and he gave him a chance. That reactor's going to go down. Oh, this is a really bad start for Spirit right now. Cyclone's almost out. I love this mature decision. GunGFu's just like, yeah, Cyclone's almost out. Let's just like get the bunker cancelled, you know, and then run away. Not even that. It just run away. Super cautious, but I like it. You've already done so much damage. Why risk losing these units and be open to the counterattack, yeah? Pull back, be chill, and you're going to be in a great spot. Or just wait for the Stalker and go right back in.
Yeah, comes in once again. At least now we have the Cyclone, bit of better damage for Spirit, but he's again losing his Marines. He did finish the bunker though, so that gives him a bit of safety low ground. Adepts will get into the main base. Will not commit though. They decide it's not worth it, so he will be okay for now. And things will settle, but GunGFu, he's feeling good, and he's going to proxy a gateway up because he feels like he can absolutely double down on this pressure he's already been applying.
3-gate blink with a gateway proxied. Skipping the robo to try and get this going harder and faster. That could be very powerful. Remember, he can't really use the ledge, which is such a big weak point of Teran on this map, but he just has no way of getting high ground vision. If he warps the sentry in now, he could use it, you know, use the hallucination, but if he doesn't do that, he will not be able to. So third gateway is there, warping in Stalkers. He's cut Probes as GunGFu. This is a hugely committed time. He needs to build a pylon and think about taking a third behind the pressure. He's actually taking a third gas, which is interesting.
Yeah, taking the extra gas. Interesting in between as obviously our gate morphs in and extra Stalkers will be warping in here. Blink done soon. We do have a siege tank finishing from Spirit. Positioning of this defense is going to be really important. As currently the two Cyclones and the Raven are hanging around on the edge. Well, the two Adepts going to go towards the front. The tank is honestly in a pretty vulnerable spot. There's basically nothing to support this. That tank is super dead. We're going to blink straight on it. And now there's just a bunker with 2 Marines to kind of try and save the day. Drop an auto turret as well. Extra damage helps, but good fight from GunGFu so far.
Really good decisiveness, and I love to see this. You're down 0-2. The series has been a one-sided stomp in the favor of your opponent. It's time to bring out some special spice. And that's exactly what he does. The probe harass was on point. Hides the probe, comes back in for a second wave, goes for the gateway, goes for the quick Zealot Adept pressure. Just lots of layers to that to set up for it. And finishing with the 3-gate blink aggression, a really nice way to just not let his opponent out from under his thumb. And kind of the opposite, right? Spirit gets ahead and kind of goes, you know, slowly work our way ahead. GunGFu's like, I can kill you. Oh, quick, let's go. You know, just gets
Zero
right
chill.
in there.
Zero chill, and rightfully so, because he absolutely had the killing timing there. There was nothing about that I think you could defend from that point. I mean, don't even know where you'd put the tank, because if you put the tank high ground, you can there's just no damage output for Spirit that exists at that point. Like, you know, you just can't justify. You know, the Stalkers aren't going to be chased away or scared away. So Yeah, we get ourselves ready for game number 4. We still will not have a 3-0 today. Today is the game day with all of the games being played. Well, maybe not all of them. We've only had 1 3-2, I guess, but a little bit better than yesterday. Yesterday we had so many 3-0s, so yeah, game 4 coming up. Get this started here in a second. Get this
The more 3-0s, the better the semis and finals, though. That's the way it goes, man.
Yeah.
You only get so many good series for a tournament. There's a quota. This is how competition works, right? It's like one day is really bad, the next day will be really good. Kind of goes back and forth like that. So hopefully we don't use up too many good ones before the end. It's always nice to have a really sick, pointy top 4 where every match is kind of going down to the wire. But pretty rare.
I love how Spirit joins this game. He's like, cool, ready, go. No break asked for. So this time GunGFu's like, 1 minute, please. So these guys just, yeah, these guys just.
You gotta watch the replay after you win, Wardy. That's it. They're like, ooh, look at when I killed his units. Look at when the Zealot chopped the Marine in half. Ooh.
I genuinely think this is just a mind game. Spirit does take like a break after every game, so I feel like some players have now started to take a break after every game that Spirit loses, just to make it sink in a little bit for him. So
that's pretty funny.
Fun.
I mean, I feel like when you lose, it's almost more important to have a break. It's kind of funny that he does instantly just go. I'm like, oh, fair enough.
Doesn't want to think about it.
I don't know, man. I do miss some of the characters we used to have in StarCraft, though, with their different interesting traits. Fire Cake always comes to mind.
Yeah.
These sort of players, interesting manners, some of the ones. The early days of StarCraft was definitely a bit more of a Wild West in terms of some of the different manners and the back and forth and the way the players would interact and stuff. I feel like these days it's almost too polite in StarCraft. We could use a little bit more spice.
Well, we'll see if we get any spice here on side Delta. Hey, we had Oliver dropped a mule earlier. That was pretty spicy.
That's true. Give us more of that. That's it. We're like, oh, he dropped a mining unit in the combat. Oh, it was, we're like, oh, okay, like, oh, he asked for a 1 minute pause after winning the game, and the other guy, oh, he normally does it when he wins, so this is so rude, we're like, oh my lord, could we
desperate.
be any soft? Yeah, come on.
All right, well, we are into side Delta to continue this series along. In the bottom right-hand corner, the blue Terran player is Spirit.
We've got so many observers that it took me, I realized I needed to click on the drop down to find Mapu's camera. My lord.
These right at the end this time.
Popular. Yeah, it was. I'm going through all the numbers on my keyboard, but up here in the top left, we've got the red Protos. It's GunGFuBanDa. Gets on back with some aggression. It's a different sort of thing when you can put your opponent on the defensive and have them reacting to you all game. Feels different. And Engineering Bay block again. Spirit coming out. It did well for him earlier. Yeah. Felt like GunGFu didn't have a super ideal response to this. Most importantly, because he just didn't scout it for such a long time. And yet again, he scouts it really late. At least he comes down like before it's Cybercore / Nexus timing, but still doesn't really have enough time in order to say pull 4 or 5 probes, kill the SCV, kill the thing. He has to just go for the Zealot chrono and slowly keep on probing on one base.
Yeah, seeing it late really sucks, and that's exactly why it's just, you could have stopped this getting so much more HP on it. As much as it's deny the SCV than it is to get rid of the HP on the Engineering Bay because it builds up so quickly. So that's definitely the issue, as we just have ourselves the probe coming back over. Zealot will be done soon, and we'll start to swipe through that Engineering Bay, but that is going to take a little while here. That is what we're going to aim for over the next little bit as the probe gets chased away by the SCV as well.
Command Center goes down on location on that natural. It's quite delayed because, of course, the Engineering Bay is not getting cancelled. If you see the Protoss take the third, you can build your Command Center a lot earlier because you can cancel this, but I think it's totally worth it, of course, because that Nexus is going to be miles behind where it normally would be. Bunker goes down pre-factory. Spirit playing very safe against the chance of counter-aggression.
Ooh, gets the probe.
Almost makes me wonder if he's going to 3 racks, but no, it is a factory.
There's a little micro on the other side, but yeah, factory coming through, and we'll see Spirit then getting himself set as we do see GungFu. Cheeky little probe into the top right-hand side. I mean, he's still got to think about the fact that the first 2 games he played was him playing a bit more standard, did not go well. The game he won, he played much more aggressively, so maybe there is still some intentions of being further aggressive. Maybe he just wants to make sure there's nothing too crazy happening from the Teran, make sure there's no STV here waiting to build a starport, for example. That's a very popular way to try and get a quick win. Hellion drop, you know, medevac proxied. All of a sudden they're in their base really quickly, and, you know, series is over just like that. You're in the lower bracket of the spring regionals, so just being cautious, just double checking all the common places, especially near your main base or from the right side of that main base. That's exactly what GungFu is up to with that probe.
Starport's on the way, second barracks, Widow Mine, Marines building. It's very kind of simple setup so far for Spirit, but it looks like it could lead into like the mine drop plus lib plus tank plus stim push again. It does kind of feel like that setup so far. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously it doesn't have to go in that direction. And that Reaper's going to try to just rotate around going, where's your third base? Where is it? So far, GungFu not giving much away.
Reaper hops up, just sees a stalker there, backs away. Twilight Council's researching the blink, and this Robo facility is the next step. Obviously, Reaper good to stay alive because you want to keep on scouting for that third as well. We do have the medevac on the way here from Spirit as we do drop down a Rax in the front. Engineering bay is a building. And again, just getting this all settled down as the factory gets the tech lab on the go. Another barracks coming in, so that's 3 racks in total, and we're starting to get powered up. Here is add-ons on the factory and starport though, so getting that ready just for future tech and so on. Not going to go for anything too aggressive in terms of a lib push, etc.
GungFu's going up towards the very fast 4 gas, so could go Storm, but more commonly from here it would be quick Colossus.
Yeah.
And Raven Interference Matrix is pretty good versus that as well. We saw that have some decent success earlier today. Widowmine drop coming towards the main base right now though. GungFu's looking rather paranoid in this game. Is he paying attention? Uh-oh.
Oh no, that's a pull, but it's pretty late, so you are going to hit 4 workers. There's one mine that has not actually fired yet, so just got to remember that. We do have not Blink ready yet, so we actually do have to take a moment to deal with this. Don't want to give up a Stalker. We've got the Observer, so that works. That's still quite a bit of mining time lost, though, and you lost 4 probes, and the medevac and other mine are still in the back, so really great initial drop in from Spirit. I mean, that's one of the best kind of sets of success you could have had. The only thing that would have been better would be that other Widow Mine that died. At least getting 1 probe, right? That's the only thing that was really missing.
Yeah, 100%.
Just set up these
Third
depots
base
as well.
is so delayed though. That's what's so awkward about this for Protos, right? It always feels like it's so knife's edge defending an early third with Colossus and Blink. But on the other hand, when you delay it, it's like, oh god, is this ever going to pay off before all the fighting happens? I don't think so, you know. So it kind of feels like you have to stay in the low 50s of probes until you defend the 3 racks push, and then kind of go to the next step steadily. Third command center hasn't started yet for Spirit. He's just pumping bio, stim, shields, +1, Ravens out. We do need medevacs, right? That's the thing, is usually that's the last little cherry on top of the cake, and the reactor on that starport is mighty slow. Third command center does just start now.
Yeah, that's gonna take a little bit as we do have a, like you said, that third CC just starting, but it is a delayed third nexus, so the thing is, if Spirit wants to kind of push and kind of do something here, like, it still feels scary because the third is fairly late from the Protos, so in theory, they've been very safe. I guess it really depends if this Raven can land a good Matrix. 1 good Matrix on the Colossus, and we could really just stim in and kill a lot of stuff, right? So, it's gonna be big.
We stim, and we win. It's been said before, it's been seen before. Not a lot of meat here. It's Stalkers, Sentries, and Colossus. He's going to try and get some hits on the Ravens. I like that, forcing the siege up.
Yeah, anything to slow down the progress of Spirit and, moving forward, forcing the siege is going to be a part of that, as Raven is still trying to stay in the front, does not want to just get blinked on, hits the Matrix on the Colossus. We do have force fields, and that will buy you some time. The units can kind of slip in. The main thing is the tanks are going to get forward, but we're actually losing a lot of the bio. I feel like it was time to back away with those bio units a little while ago, because we lost a lot of them. I mean, the tanks are in an okay spot. We lose some Stalkers unnecessarily. Super Battery going to fade away, and now the tanks are even further in range of that third. Charge is getting close to finishing though, Pig. That should be a big part of the answer here for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, unlike game one when Charge was nowhere near done, this time Charge is finishing in a moment. If you can get one more warp in, that'll be big. That bio is heavily damaged, but you do not want to lose the Nexus. You got to go. Oh, he's going to lose it. That's unfortunate. If he could have kept that alive, I think this could have been great for GunGfu. But remember, Spirit's on 3 base. He's got 60 workers. Like, this is not an all-in, man. You need to shut this down. Widowmine drops coming in the main, as well as a drop moving back in. And oh, this is just so awkward for GunGfu. Does lose 3 probes. The drops inside as well. He can start depowering pylons, picking off more probes. 2 gateways will get depowered there. And Spirit just casually pulls his main army away, realizing the damage has already been done.
Absolutely. I mean, again, depowering the structures is huge. We have the probes pulling. They're going to try and protect the Colossus here. Zealot showing up as well. The last Marauder shot is good for the Colossus kill. The Stalkers will get the medevac as actually that Marauder swapped medevacs at the end there. Cute little move from Spirit as he is up 40 supply on the back of this. The Widow Mine was still there. Hits a bunch more probes. We're going to pull the probes to fight at GunGfu. It's all falling apart for him right now. Losing even more economy on top of missing out on the 3rd base. And Spirit, he pulled back with the main army. He's going to reinforce, and now he's going to get set to go. Maybe not right now, but he's got a Ghost Academy coming. Similar to the previous games, he's just going to invest in the future and put himself into a better and better spot.
Indeed. Ghost Academy finishing up, +1 armor. Such a big worker count as well. 71 workers, which feels like a little too much for 3 base, but you're building a lot of buildings. You'll build a 4th command center soon enough, so always better to be a little oversaturated than under. And wow, what can you do with this force? GunGfu, I feel like he's very solid with his micro, just hasn't often had the material on the board, on the map, to really do what he needs to get done.
+1 finishing prison coming up, but man, Spirit's supply is looking... This is actually maybe the most convincing lead he's had in the games in terms of just numbers as well. At least in the previous games, GunGfu's been able to kind of keep the number game there, so it's looked as though he's got a chance. It doesn't even look like he's got anything slightly going in his favor right now, as Spirit's supply leads by about 50. It's a huge worker advantage. The army supply is obviously massive. Upgrade will be leading for Spirit soon as well, as he finishes +1 armor in about 30-40 seconds. And well, the Raven will go down here. Okay, never mind. Cool. This is just not a game that GunGfu's meant to do anything in. The Raven gets to live on 1 HP. As the Ghosts are going to lead in. EMP's the Sentry, so no force fields, or very few force fields remaining. And now you put yourself between the natural and the 3rd, and it's going to be extremely tough for the pros to take the right fight. We get a Matrix off the Raven as well. That 1 HP Raven coming in big just to help push up. And again, just going to fight down the ramp because you want the tanks to be part of this. So make him kind of walk through the tanks. Prism on the other side being denied. It's just all about Spirit at the moment.
Spirit's looking large, he's looking in charge, and this man is as turgid as they come. He is overflowing with skill, talent, and endless bio swarms. His bases just keep expanding, his upgrades keep going, and my golly, he's just going to kill every single Nexus and then try to either turn and fight or maybe get out of here. The Marauders have been a massive problem for GunGfu throughout, and trying to hang on with the Colossus Sentry. No Zealots left here. As you can see, Colossus, great damage against Marines. Ghosts and Marauders kind of ignore them.
Yep. Yes, they do. GG is called, as GunGfu says, and no more. And Spirit's pretty dominating the series. I mean, 1 game, he kind of got caught early, but otherwise, every other game, it was all about him dealing damage, putting himself in...